A lot of these segments, hot hatch is a great example, everybody's exiting. So yeah, I won't argue that Chevrolet's brought a great vehicle into the segment. And you know what? Now it's our turn to see what we do with the next iteration. And even since we launched this, we've already done things every year to increase the performance and to bring some appeal through special editions. And so who knows what the future holds.
How is it possible that you can make this happen, the GR Corolla happen?
It's a monster.
Yeah, I don't understand how it happens in a business that really is paying the bills with RAV4s.
There's still a customer base for all of those vehicles, and if it was only about making money and not serving our customer, then I would say we should be all in on body-on-frame or SUVs and make no more cars. But that's not our strategy.
That really isn't the right solution. At least I don't think it is. But today, we're filming this on June 1st.
Yeah, 1st of June.
Today's episode was on a Buick Wildcat.
Okay.
Not a Toyota.
Right.
But that's a concept car.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's this stunning coupe.
Yep.
It's got this beautiful proportion. The plan view is stunning. They have no plans to produce this car because they know it's not going to sell. Everybody says they want a coupe, but they're not willing to pay for it. Are people actually buying things like this, or a GR Corolla or an 86?
Yeah, the demand, right, is through the roof. Of course, it's tough in this day and age with where we're at inventory across our industry to say anything's not in high demand, right? But when you look at the enthusiast reaction to these vehicles, it's been extremely high, the demand. And the other thing is, don't forget, we use motorsports and these GR products to also test technology that we can put in some of those other vehicles like you're talking about. I mean, for example, GR Corolla, right? There's a Corolla that's going to run this weekend in Supra in Japan that's going to test a hydrogen internal combustion engine, right? So it's about bringing joy to a customer base that we know wants it, and also about using it as a bit of a petri dish for our company to reinvest in some of the other platforms.
So let's go back to the business case.
Sure.
GR Corolla.
Yeah.
You're going to make what? 1,500 or 1,000 of the launch editions.
Sure. Yeah. The circuit edition will be about 1,200, 8,000-ish on a full year.
So that's a very limited production car. Like Aston Martin sells 8,000 cars a year. What's the business case that actually gets that thing sold to management?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to make money on that, or is it you're going to take technology from it and it's going to bleed into Corollas?
Yeah, I would say combination of both. We don't put any vehicle in the market where we don't look at what's the revenue over time so that we can turn a profit, right? We look at planning volumes and make sure that over a duration we can get a profit. We don't make vehicles to not make.
So GR Corolla is in business to make money. It's not just hey, we wanted like you and I.
Yeah, sure.
You didn't come up with it. I came up with a line. Balls the size of pumpkins.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I love that line.
Yes.
It's a great line.
I will lease it to you.
I cannot talk to my wife or anyone else about that line, but it got my attention when you used it. So, yeah, over time, right? We have planning volumes that need to turn a profit over time with every model we make. But also, if you want to be known as a company that creates not only high quality dependability and reliable vehicles, but also fun to drive, exciting, that have the visceral feel of driving, that's what these vehicles do for us.
How is this different than a GR Corolla that you went to BMW for this? What's the real answer on this?
Back to your question about profitability and what we call internally COSU, or resources, right? And so part of your cost is the resources that it takes. And when you look at this segment, you could say the same thing about the GR86 segment. In order to make sure that we can have the resources we need in order to create those vehicles and bring them into the market so we can not only deliver them to our customers, but do it with the business case. There's times that we do have to partner.
Is it easier to make a business case for the 86 segment, or easier to make a business case for this?
It's a good question. I've never thought of, is it easier? When you say easier, you mean from a,
there's more competition here.
Yeah.
And if we're honest with each other, 86
we're always honest with each other.
You and I are.
Oh, yeah.
He's kind of like Mike Swears. Like, Mike Swears is very honest with you guys. That's why I've had Mike come here. Actually, it's all about Mikes and Toyotas.
Yeah, it's the Mike and Mike show. The MotoMan, Mike and Mike show. 3
Three
M's.
you guys together.
3 M's.
Are you a cigar smoker? Oh, then you're out.
I have my other tobacco, but
then you're out.
But Mike chews tobacco. I try not to my wife, but yeah,
okay,
I'll have a cigar with you. Let's do that.
Okay, tonight we're going for cigars.
Okay,
Me and Mike already have
I'm on a plane, so.
Well, then change your flight.
But listen, next time we're together, I will have a cigar with you.
Okay. So let's get back to it.
Okay, sorry.
So the Supra, there's more competitors for this.
Yes.
You've got now the Z again. You've got the Corvette, and we're going to come back to that. But the 86, there's only one competitor.
Yeah.
And it starts with an N.
Yep.
So I would argue you guys basically split the market. Is that the case you're seeing?
I think it's too early to say with the new GR86. It's been in the market for a year, and clearly with what's going on in demand and supply, we haven't been able to supply to the demand. So I think over time we'll see that. I mean, we have high aspirations for that vehicle, especially with the 2.4 liter and pushing that torque curve down to 3,700 RPM. So, but even if you look at the GR segment, right, that hot hatch segment, that's gone down significantly over the last 5 years. But the reality is, if you look at the performance area, right, the performance, if you cut that segment in half and you look at the performance, it's actually grown a little bit. So I think what's key is if you're going to be in these segments, first of all, you have to have a vehicle that can move the segment. So you can't rely on the size of the segment. We have to produce something that we believe can grow the segment.
And I would argue it's like you and Volkswagen are coming to the table with a really premium vehicle, not a marketing, for lack of a better term, marketing bullshit. It actually really is a premium vehicle in both cases. They're different in execution. One's more of a luxury vehicle, yours is more raw.
Right.
Like, let's go back to that decision, the GR Corolla. What was the decision in saying, you know what, we're going to make a GR Corolla and not bring the GR Yaris to America? What went into that decision?
If you look at the package of Yaris, the size of the Yaris, it's too small for the U.S. Not that we don't sell Yaris here, but if you look at the hot hatch segment, we knew we need to have a bigger execution.
Did you know you were going to do a GR Corolla when you first came out with the GR Yaris program?
I don't know the history of the timeline, but we've been working on GR Corolla for a while. We delayed GR Corolla for a year because it wasn't wide enough.
Because of virus? Or?
No, we delayed it a year because of Akio. It didn't meet his expectations. So that vehicle was pushed back a year because, in his words, it wasn't wild enough and it wasn't wide enough. So we actually, Sakamoto-san, the chief engineer, went back and made it wider and then boosted the horsepower. So your question about GR Yaris in Europe. GR Yaris, having lived in Europe, that's a great package and a great platform for the European market. If you look at the size of Yaris versus the size of Corolla, we didn't have confidence that we could do what we want to do, not only sales, but also be authentic to the US market. So therefore we brought the GR Corolla.
So are there plans to go the other direction, take Corolla and bring it to other markets?
TBD. I mean, I'm not answering because I'm trying to be coy.
For your poker face.
No,
right
I mean,
actually, I can't say anything. Okay, so let's go back to the Supra now. I asked you point blank. Was it harder or easier to compete in this segment or 86? This segment, I think it's harder. Because your competition is more stiff and you have more competition. You guys, when we got together on this car, you told me you needed to go to BMW, you needed the resources, blah, 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 blah. But then, for lack of a better term, Chevrolet crapped on your doorstep 3 months later and came out with their amazing moonshot of a car. How did that shadow this with inside of Toyota?
A lot of these segments, hot hatch is a great example, everybody's exiting. So yeah, I won't argue that Chevrolet's brought a great vehicle into the segment. And you know what? It's our turn to see what we do with the next iteration. And even since we launched this, we've already done things every year to increase the performance and to bring some appeal through special editions. And so who knows what the future holds, but I have a lot of confidence that we'll continue to meet the challenge so that as the bar gets set or reset, we do what we can, like we've done with GR Corolla, to then reset it ourselves. Someone catches up to us and play a game in a segment that I'm just excited we're talking about.
Was there any looking at the business case after the fact? This car, came out in
2019,
looking at the business case of this before you brought the GR Corolla out and saying, okay, this is how we did by sharing expenses with another manufacturer, and did that dictate GR Corolla to be doing your own thing?
We look at anything we've done, and when we are deciding on if we're going to partner with someone or not, it comes down to resources, it comes down to expertise in different areas, right? And so we always look at those things. I wouldn't say that there was a conscientious decision that I'm aware of, where we looked at this and said we can't do what we've done here, or even with GR86. But I think also if you look at the history of what we've done with GR Corolla, we didn't need to go to anybody else for the resources or the expertise because we have it all in-house. And so I can't speak specifically to say, was this a deciding factor? We look at them holistically, and as we move forward, I said this to you at the GR86 launch when I was asked about the Subaru partnership on that vehicle. And the key is we decide what we're going to partner on and what elements of the vehicle, but then make sure that they're distinctly Toyota, in this case, distinctly GR when we bring them to market. And even if you drive this next to the sister vehicle with one of our partners, or the 86 with the sister the sister vehicle, you'll notice distinct driving differences that make it an authentic GR vehicle.
So recently, you have announced you're doing a manual transmission finally. So arigatou gozaimasu.
You've been asking. I mean, you've
Well,
been
I've been beating you over
Yeah,
that
I mean,
for a
it's
long-
kind of
and
crazy.
I know you did it because of me.
Yeah, and I felt so badly. We felt so badly about it. That's the reason we only put a manual in the Corolla, just so you wouldn't ask me.
Hey, you're very smart because you know I'm persistent. Was the manual choice and timing, was that a function of Z coming back to market, or was it planned before Z coming back to market?
We were working on it, but we had to go out and create a bespoke transmission to handle the torque of this, right? We didn't have anything, so we had to create a transmission specifically for the vehicle.
Was it always in the product plan when you first came back to Supra?
We were going to monitor the market from the beginning.
Oh, so it was
Yeah,
like maybe.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what the
it
market.
wasn't. It wasn't a definitive thing.
Let's see what the market.
So you went out and did you actually do the transmission in-house, or who actually did the transmission?
Yeah, we did the transmission. We used we took an existing housing, existing gear set.
So was there a discussion of, okay, we're finally going to do a manual transmission, 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder? Was there ever that discussion, or was it always 6-cylinder?
Before we were to put it in the the Super 2.0, it makes sense to first put it in 3.0, and then we'll see.
So I'm going to give you a little feedback.
Sure.
Most folks that bring a manual to market, they bring it in either the smaller engine or the car that has less content.
Yep.
And I got, not because we're friends, I got to take my hat off to you, because you did the right thing here. I think what this is going to prove is a business case going forward of manuals are actually a premium product. Like when you think of like a Challenger, do you realize they charge extra for a manual?
It wasn't that long ago where, that was the lower
paid
price
less for
vehicle,
the
right? When we
manual,
were growing up, certainly in trucks.
You pay
and everything else.
$700 extra for a manual. So I think what you're going to see, this is just one man talking, I think that you're going to see that this is a business case going forward, and your take rate's probably going to be 25%. That's just me reading the tea leaves.
It'll be interesting to see, because when we put the GR badge on Supra, the Supra brand was bigger than GR.
Wasted,
right?
way bigger.
Right.
I owned a Supra.
And think about it, even then, what does this mean? And we didn't spend a lot of time trying to talk about the GR brand. Okay, then we come last year with the GR 86. And as we talked about when we launched that car, you and I were together, it has to earn that badge. And how did it earn it? Is, as I said there, more miles for the smile. The reality is the performance of that vehicle, the balance, the weight, especially for that price point, right? We made fun affordable with that vehicle and manual transmission available. So now GR starting to take shape. I think the GR Corolla has been a bit of a, wow, okay, it's a lot easier for you and I to talk about GR today than it was when we were only talking about GR Supra back in 2019. So the GR brand is taking form with 3 incredible vehicles, and as you saw today, we're going to continue to expand either through limited editions, boost the power cred, and as Sato-san showed the other day, maybe there's some other models in our future.
Any ideas of where it's going to be?
No ideas, no ideas. That's my poker face.
Okay, I can definitely see something interesting there.
That's my poker
Okay,
face.
I'll tell you what, let's make it simple.
Okay.
Are you at least going to give me a target roof in this? Let me see the poker face.
I'm not saying.
Oh, we won't even look at you.
No, I can't look at you.
I think we're onto something.
I don't know.
Okay, you know what? This is the point of the episode where we turn it around to the audience. You've never been on the show before.
Okay,
This is where we ask feedback from the audience. So, what do you want to know from the audience? What kind of feedback do you want from them?
Okay.
And be careful what you wish for, because you will get it.
Yeah. I would say feedback to us is, what do you think of the GR brand? And if we were to add another model to the GR brand, what would it be? And do you support my main man, MotoMan here, and you want the Targa on the Supra? I'm not saying you're getting any of it, but I'd love to know.
That's a dead giveaway. Dead giveaway. Okay, on that note, this is where you answer in the comments below or via our social media, MotoManTV, all word, MotoManTV, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And with that, a fun fact about Mike here. He wasn't just a sports car guy. He was a fancy Lexus guy back in the day, and he launched the Lexus LC500 in Ibiza, Spain.
Ibiza,
so
Spain.
He's cooler than he looks.
No, I'm not cooler than I look, right? But I did have the opportunity to launch LC in Ibiza, Spain in an event just like this.
And you didn't invite me.
I didn't invite you. Next time.
We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Take care.
Peace,
Thanks.
Peace out.